Host.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right. Right on. All right. You got me host. Let's go. Awesome. What is up, guys? Squad, other elephant folks. Good to see you guys. So welcome to our community Zooms. We have 2 Zooms a week. Today, like Angie said, is just a general Q&A. Every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Mountain Time, we host just a general Q&A for all of our baby elephants. So today will just be answering your guys' questions live, whatever it happens to be, whether you guys have a lead you're working on or just have any questions about real estate in general, we can help you out. So I always like to start my Zooms off the same. So we have been running Zooms for a little over a year now as leaders in the Elephant Challenge. My team consists of Miss Angie Milanazzo. She is the boss lady. She is a longtime real estate agent, over 18 years of experience. No dating tips today, Charles. I'm sorry, man. But Angie is a longtime real estate agent, has actually had and owned her own brokerage for about 8 years out here in Colorado. And then her husband, Dominic, is also a real estate agent. He's been an agent for roughly 7 years. I always forget, but I think around 7 years. And has also started and operated $1 million companies in the telecommunication space. And then their son, Joey, who I tolerate, is actually my really good buddy. Me and him mostly run the investing side of the company. So me and him are doing the day-to-day operations, negotiating, closing, underwriting, dispoing, mostly sub-2 deals. We do some seller finance and some cash, but we primarily focus on subject to properties. So we have our very own Facebook group. Actually, let me start with this. If this is your first time in our Zoom, you guys have never been in a Herd of Profits Zoom with our lead group. If you guys could post a 1 in the chat, if this is your first time. I always like to see our newcomers. Daniel, Aaron, Toshi, Christian. Too many. Right on. Love to see it. Joel's been in here a ton of times. We see that. Yep. Awesome. Good to see you guys. Thank you guys for showing up. Last Friday, so our other Zooms that we host is on Fridays. That is at noon Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Mountain Time. That one is more of a specific targeted Zoom where we pick one topic, whether it's calling people live, role playing, getting better at the phones, underwriting, finding buyers, how to market for properties. So Fridays are Zooms where we delve a little bit deeper into one topic. Today is just a general Q&A. But yeah, you guys should be in the right place. So we have consistently, I would say now, anywhere from at least 40 people to 100 people every Zoom showing up. So great place to network, great place to meet like-minded investors, and you'll probably be able to find someone in your local area that you guys can bounce ideas off of. So I'm going to quickly run through my regulars that I always see in here. So Miss Stevie Brown is a sub-2 student out of Arizona. She's always in here. Let's see, Miss Janae Torres looks like she's pumping iron, but I can see her getting that work and she's in here. Let's see, Miss Sessing Anderson is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She is a real estate agent out of New York. So if you guys need any agents out of New York, make sure you hit her up. You guys can see my twin brother is on here. His name's Jamie. He's in here as well too. Mr. Jim Molinex is in here. He's in Indiana now. Him and his wife are also some of the nicest people you guys will ever meet. They are both sub-2 students, crushing it in life. So they travel a lot. Diana Costain is a beast, longtime real estate investor. She actually started her career, I would say, flipping commercial properties in Canada, and now owns a handful of Airbnbs in Arizona and lives life to the fullest out there in Arizona. Let's see. I'm running through them. And if you guys are in here and I miss you, Miss Linda Willoughby is someone on our team. So if you guys ever submit us leads, we'll talk about that in a second. But if you guys ever have leads you want to submit us, you will probably be working very closely with Miss Linda, who's always got the biggest smile on her face. Look at her, she's cheesing. So expect to hear from Linda Willoughby. Let's see, Amanda Mulqueen is on our team. She makes phone calls and does that for us. So she's getting really good at the phones, getting better at underwriting. So shout out to Amanda. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to go through the rest of these quickly so we can get started. Mark Afoa is a beast. He's on our team. Brandon Buckland, I've seen him in here quite a bit. Enrique's always in here. Mr. Ali Abdelaziz is an agent in Southern Colorado. My guy Carlos Alvarado is a beast, also in Southern Colorado. Not a sub-2 student, but willing to knock on doors and not afraid to talk to sellers, agents, whatever he needs to do. Mr. Joel Shipley, constantly in here, constantly in the chat, making friends and leaving comments. Let's see. Jordan Hirschfield is a sub-2 student out of Colorado. She is actually our transaction coordinator. So shout out to you, Jordan. Thanks for making it. And I'm sure I'm missing people as more people filter in, but I always want to shout out my OGs. So, and if I miss you, post it in the chat. I'm sure I missed a few people, but yeah, thank you guys for showing up. Shout out to you guys. Maj, is that Maj? I missed him. Where's he at? What up, bro? Oh, I see you. iPhone 206. That's why I didn't see you. Your username is iPhone 206. What up, Maj? Maj is a sub-2 student, also out of Colorado, owns his own carpet cleaning business and Turo business, and then is also doing the real estate thing here too. So shout out to Maj. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. You got to log back in. So I want to show you guys our Facebook group. We have our very own Facebook group. We just passed over 1,000 members. It is called Herd of Profits. Let me close that. So if you guys want to join our Facebook group, it's totally free. Like I said, we just passed the 1,000 member mark. Main point of being in here is so that way you always have the Zoom link every Tuesday and Friday. And then you can also ask questions, bounce ideas off of each other. And then lastly, we have a lot of good resources over here in the files tab. So I'm going to post the link to this in the chat if you guys want to go join the Facebook group. Again, totally free. I would say just join it just for the resources that we've provided. So we have these LOI, letter of intent templates. So they're blank templates that you can use to send offers to agents or sellers or whoever you need to send them to. So sorry, didn't mean to do that. So those are great. There's a subject to only, a hybrid LOI, and a seller finance LOI. We also have this amazing PDF that talks about estimating repair costs. Someone's unmuted. If you guys could double check your mics and make sure you guys are muted for me. I heard some feedback just there, but so this estimating repair cost PDF is amazing. If you guys have no idea if you have no construction background, download this. This will really help you guys. Here's a PDF of our buy box. So if you guys want to find us properties, that's that PDF. Here's an underwriting calculator. Here's a foreclosure process. Here's a script to call agents. Here's a frequently asked questions about subject to that we send to real estate agents and sellers. A seller net sheet. This is a side-by-side comparison that you can send to sellers to show them how much money they'll actually make from selling their home on market. And then here's some common questions and concerns regarding selling on terms. So a lot of good resources for you there. And then lastly, Angie beat me to the punch, but we are currently live on YouTube right now. So if you guys, we have 7 people watching, that's awesome. So if you guys want to watch any of our past Zooms, we have a lot of good underwriting Zooms, calling agents live, just getting better at the phones, multiple Zooms that we've done. So great resource for you guys to continue to improve and learn more. So there you go. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys. So yeah, make sure you guys check out Angie's YouTube, and please, please, please look at that. We're at 930 subscribers, but there's 82 people in here. If we can just get at least 72 people to subscribe, we'll pass that 1,000 mark. and we are going to throw a party. So if you guys could please take just 20 seconds. Tanisha, shout out to you. Oh, I got to shout out Miss Tanisha Epps. Tanisha is an OG of Sub 2. Worked very closely with Pace. Actually, was it Tanisha that won the trip? Right? Am I? Yeah. So Tanisha won a trip. I forgot all about it. I can't remember what it was about, but I remember just hearing her name. So Tanisha is also an OG Sub 2 student. So make sure you guys reach out to her. Awesome. So please subscribe to Angie. We're trying to get to her 1,000. I'm betting we get there by the end of this week, and we could definitely use your guys' help. So let's go ahead and get started on just the general Q&A. So she hung out with Tim Tebow. That's awesome. Right on. So let me stop share. So Joel's already got his hand raised. I will get to you in just a second. Joel, yeah, if any of you guys have questions about like even what direction to get started in, how to get started, how to identify leads, maybe how to call sellers, anything like that, just anything involving real estate whatsoever, or maybe even mindset, any questions about our team or how we do business, anything like that, feel free to raise your hand. Tons of people will ask questions in the chat, which we will try to read those questions, but I'm going to prioritize people that have their hand raised. So if you don't know how to do that, you can actually go to reactions at the bottom of Zoom there and hit that, and you can see it says raise hand. So make sure you guys go ahead and raise your hand. Nice. We got another subscriber, 2 subscribers. Let's go. All right, Joel, let's hear it, brother. What do you got?
So yesterday, Ace challenged me for 90 days straight to make calls at least to 5 people. So
I love it, man.
I got to get that started, and live on YouTube every day. So that's another thing.
Let's go. Yeah, I would say, man, that is Pace. Just guy knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
When me and Joey got started, right, we both had some experience in real estate, but definitely not in creative finance, definitely not in wholesaling, right? So when me and him first got started, that's literally what we did every day. I would make it a point to make 100 phone calls at least every single day. So I would come in after my job. This is before I quit. Come into the office, sit down. We would pull a list, and I would literally like make sure I filled up all of my recent calls. So all of my recents would just be full of numbers that I called. And I would make sure I'd at least double it, right? So I was getting in, me and Joey both, we would go back to back. I would call, he'd call, I'd call, he'd call. We do that for 4, 5, 6, 8 hours a day. Not knowing that that's really what we should have been doing. We were hoping to buy these we were calling lists. We were calling $1 million homes in the mountains of Colorado, trying to get Airbnbs for $2 million and seeing if they would sell it to us for 0 down, 0 interest, right? I mean, you can guess that didn't turn out very well. That wasn't the strategy we stuck with, but man, did we get good at the phones. We got, we had fun with it too. We would joke with these people when they asked us for $10 million. I remember a story, we called this guy, his home was probably worth maybe 2-3 million. And he jokingly said, yeah, I'd take 10 million. And I asked him, well, that's funny. I'm not really seeing where the helicopter pad is. Did you recently build that as a joke? And he started laughing and said he's actually thinking about building a helicopter pad. So that's funny. But yeah, Joe, I think Pace knows what he's talking about. Getting good on the phones, no matter what route you want to take, is going to be good for whichever route you want to take to being a real estate investor.
Yep. So I want to get back to a little bit the basics again. So I can a little bit get a little refresher before I do one today. So as you know, agents are all over the place, right? Some will understand very well, some will not understand very well. So the first second when they get, when the sales resistance hits, right? So they will automatically start saying, no, this is illegal, we tried it and all, right? So how do you get through that barrier first? Before even they get to that objection, how do you make them cool down, open to it, right? In a way.
Yeah, and this is in regards to either seller finance or subject to. I'm guessing probably more subject to.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I can actually, let me pull up our tips and scripts here too. So again, if you guys go to our Facebook and download this copy of script for agent call, I actually probably in the meantime, I'm actually going to re-upload a new one because we just revised it this morning. But I would just highly recommend, like, I don't love scripts just because you can sound extremely robotic reading from them, right? It sounds like you're reading something. So I love outlines. That's what I would call this. It's more of an outline, right? Like, this is how your phone call should go, but make it your own. So, I guess one point to your question about how to handle their, negative energy maybe at first is don't look at that phone call as like a cold call, right? This is a real estate agent that has a client's home listed for sale. So just by nature, just it's a numbers game. You're going to call agents that are having bad days, right? They're sick of this listing. Probably they've gotten a million people that have called them about subject to. So they may start off the call with like, yeah, are you another Pace Morby wannabe? I've gotten that before. Or is this another sub two call? Don't even bother. And they hang up, right? So you will get those, right? But start off your conversation just very confident, right? Like, assume they've never heard this, right? And know that this is a valuable option for their client, right? If they have low to negative equity, subject to is usually the best fit for these people. So you're really calling with a solution for the agent and for that seller, right? So just be confident. It's in no way a cold call. And then again, just be confident, right? So go in there with a game plan, know what you are trying to accomplish. So I would say when you're calling an agent, right, that may or may not be a lead. I would call that a prospect. It's not a lead until you know the 4 pillars, right? So go into that phone call knowing what you're trying to accomplish, and you're trying to pull out 4 pieces of information. This is for all of you guys too. If you're calling sellers or agents, right, your main goal is to get 4 pieces of information, and that those 4 pieces are price, which can be fairly easy if you're calling real estate agents, right? Because the property's most likely listed, so they already have a price. Condition is also another fairly easy one. Again, if you're calling an on-market property, because there's going to be pictures, but still good to ask, like, when's the roof replaced? How old are the windows, foundation, HVAC, all that stuff? Is that in good condition? And then timeline is another good one, right? It's likely that because they're listed, they have some time on their side, but you never know, right? They may have to be redeployed in 90 days or less. So they need to sell, right? So asking timeline is a very important question. And it often really goes hand in hand with motivation. So motivation out of all of the pillars is the most important. So you never want to really just ask a seller and agent, right? Why are you selling, or why are your clients selling? You want to ask alternate questions that lead to them divulging what their motivation is. So
like curiosity. So let's say like wow, this is a really nice house. Like, why are you thinking of selling it? Like, no, I mean, this is a really nice house.
Exactly.
I don't even understand why he's trying to sell it. It's a good area, something like that. We can say, right?
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. And that's a great point too. Like, you never want to call an agent. This is a huge tip. If you guys are taking notes, write this down. Never call an agent and ask why is this property sitting on the market for so long too. That's a horrible question. You will immediately upset an agent. A better way, like Joel just alluded to, is, wow, this is such a beautiful property. I don't even know why your clients would even consider selling this, or why it's even been sitting on the market this long. Can you tell me maybe a little bit more about the condition, right? And then one great way to pull motivation is also just to ask their timeline, right? Like, do they need to sell quick, or can they wait a while, right? If they can wait, that lets you know that they may not be highly motivated, but if they need to sell quick, right, they're highly motivated. So you always want to try to find out the reason why, whether it's a divorce, probate, right, job or redeployment, right? So, but yeah, Joel, I would say one, yeah.
Deal I would add to that, sometimes that's just not the right person to talk to, right? Just go on to the next one. Some agents are just like that, but keep them in your list and call them back when it doesn't sell. But sometimes overthinking of why that agent responded that way and how could I reach them will drive you crazy. You just got to find a common ground. Look up something in the neighborhood too. Look up a house in the neighborhood. So, well, the other house sold for this. Like this house should sell for that. Build a rapport with them through conversation, other than why isn't it selling? I do sub 2. I buy with no money down. That's the stuff you get to once they're talking to you. Then you can get to that point.
Got it.
I love that too. Yeah, try to find some common ground. You have to build rapport.
Got it. In that case, can we also start off with kind of like how Jonah does it? He goes on I buy houses like this. I buy houses. I want to be the tool in your tool belt to get you paid. And he also goes on he starts going on about the other ways, the other types of leads that are problematic. He can help them. And wants to buy more properties.
Absolutely. This script will go into that as well too. Gotcha. And I actually wanted to touch on a point too. Tanisha says, just don't talk so much too. Ask a question and then stop. Dom taught all of this. And I literally still do this to this day. When someone's talking, shut your mouth, because the person that's in control of the conversation is the one that's listening, not the one that's talking. The one that's asking questions is going to be the person that's in control of the conversation. So try to keep it short, try to keep it high level. But again, be confident, right? You're calling an agent who's a customer service representative that is trying to sell a client's home, and know your 4 pillars, right? And go in there with the game plan. Okay, I need motivation, timeline, price, and condition. Once you get those right, now you can go more into the pitch. Okay. So, and then number 3, just like you talked about, probably more than 50% of the time, a deal will not come from the specific property you're calling. It will come from developing a relationship with that agent. So, yeah, I would just highly recommend reading through this, whether you use it or not, right? At least pick up a few good tips about how to make calls. So this has a lot of good resources in here, right here. Do not interrupt what they're saying. Don't go, oh, okay, yeah, literally mute your phone if you have that inclination. So let them speak as much as possible. So, and then, yeah, it goes into cash usually doesn't make sense, right? What about subject to, blah, 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 get their email. So ask about other properties on the market. Have some questions to build rapport, have different questions, ask condition. So we constantly develop this and work on this script. So make sure you guys go check this out.
The script is awesome. It's my level of notes, how I take notes is just like this.
There you go, man. Yeah. So, but great question, Joel. Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. I really think that your confidence will build. Obviously your understanding will build. Just the more calls you make, so good. Even if you want to just be an integrator, for example, if you can still get good at the phones and understand how that works, you will be a better integrator. I guarantee it, whatever path you want to take. So,
yep.
Right on, Joel. Good luck, man.
For sure. Oh, one more question I actually had. Totally forgot about this.
Okay. Sure.
So with the on the cash side, right? So when we're making that off, so anyway, we have to go through the pillars and all. But on market will be a little bit weird. So I'm also doing title companies. So where title companies get failed deals, traditionally failed deals. So I already had approval from 2 title companies in Texas. They're like, oh, we have these type of deals. We have these agents as well that the deals have failed traditionally, and they're open to they can possibly even connect us to them and do a seller finance or talk about anything seller finance, even cash on that line. So how do I move forward when they send me that deal? That's kind of what I'm stuck at. I'm trying to move forward from just being stuck at a already talking about this with them?
That's a good question. I've personally never really called title companies to get leads from them. So I would ask them, right? Like, is there an agent involved, or can I contact the seller directly? Like, ask them what their procedure would be. But my guess is that, yeah, you would just skip trace and call that seller directly, and go for cash. If not, seller finance. If not, subject to, right? Try all those different options. But my guess is to just skip trace and call that seller directly.
Got it. Appreciate it, Dylan.
Love it. Yeah, thanks, Joel, too. And good point too for all of you guys in here, trying to find different ways to find leads, right? Title companies, making relationships with title companies is a great place to do that as well.
Hey, Joel, I have one more tip for you. So when you're going after agents, where are you looking for? Where are you looking at? What markets?
Texas. I'm in
Texas.
the Dallas area, East Texas. I also like.
So find a sub-2 friendly agent in Texas. And I know this takes a little bit of time sometimes, but it might get you better on the phones. Call them up and see what that agent's doing, or try to see if that agent has other homes that have sold in that area. If you can look that up yourself, and then congratulate them. Hey, congrats on all the success. I know it's tough out there right now. Looks like you're kicking butt with all your listings. Looks like you're kicking butt with whatever it happens to be. That will make their guard go way down right off the bat.
Wait, reverse engineering. Kind of like, oh, genius, dude. That's so smart. So like, if I want to find those type of, it may take some time, but should I get referrals from other students, or should I like look up somewhere, like
post it in the sub-2 Facebook that you're looking for a friendly agent in sub-2, whatever area you're in. But you could see that information from like Privy and REI Reply. I don't know if REI Reply, but you can see it from Privy, PropStream, because you can go and look in that area and see what they've sold. But an agent can do it a lot faster for you.
Got it. Appreciate it, Dominic.
Right on, Joel. You can do it.
Love it. Love it. And then I also saw that Miss Robin Hurt is also in here too. Had to shout her out. She's waving there. She's also a sub-2 student out of Washington, I believe. Yep. Okay. So she's also on our team. So if you guys ever submit leads, you will either be working with Robin Hurt or Linda Willoughby too. So also had to make sure I shouted her out. So in case you guys ever submit leads, you'll get a call from one of those two lovely ladies. All right, Joel, right on, man. Good luck, brother. I know you got this. Just stay consistent, keep making calls, and you will improve immensely.
Percent.
Mr. Daniel, what do you got?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Good. So I'm new here. This is the first time, and I feel like I've done enough research now where I feel confident in terms of the knowledge I hold. Now it's just more really like, how do I take the first step? And so I've watched some of the elephant challenges, and so I have a good understanding of like how to utilize Privy and get that information I need from buyers, right? Understand their buy box and then try to find leads that way. But I guess my question more pertains to like my particular situation. I myself don't have, I guess, resources to buy, with the exception of the HELOC that I have. So I look at that as money that I need to recycle, right? Like I don't want to keep that money in something, because I essentially have to pay that back, right, with interest. So how would you better utilize a HELOC?
Great question. So it really depends on the type of HELOC, right? So most HELOCs are going to be variable, could be fixed, right? So, but absolutely, man, utilizing the equity that you have in your home to, like if you're paying a 6% interest on it, but you can lend it for 8% or 7%, might as well, right? It makes so much sense. So there's multiple ways. You can use that to buy a rental property, right? As long as you run your numbers and make sure you're getting a cash on cash return that is higher than the interest rate you're paying on that HELOC. Or you could just, your avatar could be a gator lender or a private money lender, right? You could lend on someone's deals at 15, 12, even 10% interest, and then make a few $100s a difference of how much money you're lending. So my recommendation would be to lend that money though.
Okay. Is it realistic to be able to, because from the research that I've done, like my variable right now is about 9.9, which I kind of hear it's not too bad. It's about average in terms of like what HELOCs are going for nowadays. Is it realistic to expect something higher than that from a cash on cash return?
Absolutely, man. I mean, like we have several properties where we're making, to be honest, upwards of 50% cash on cash return. So it really depends. Obviously, you're not going to come across those very often, but like we have a deal under contract in Ohio right now that's 25% cash on cash return. That should be closing here before the end of July. So for sure. And then obviously too, if you're going to lend that money, it's ultimately up to you. On average, I would say most private money lenders probably charge around 12% interest only. So we're paying a private money lender right now 15% interest only on a property. So yeah, I mean 100%. If you can get 15% interest only, even if you're paying 9-10% interest, right? You're still just using free money to make free money with no work needed. That's the other part, is lending is no work needed, right? As long as you do your paperwork right, underwrite the deal, make sure it's an actual good deal, and vet your borrower who's actually borrowing the money. So make sure they're a solid borrower. Once you send that wire, there's really not much work needed too. So, but for sure, vet whoever you're loaning money to. Don't just loan it to anyone. So,
Bill, what does it mean when you say interest only on that private money lending? So someone borrows.
Dustin?
What does it mean when you say interest only on a private money loan? Say someone gives you, $30,000 to make repairs. You're not paying them back interest only. So otherwise they'd never get their $30,000 back, right? You pay principal plus interest.
It depends. Some PMLs might loan you 20 grand at interest only, and they're okay with never getting that money back until you sell that rental property or flip it or refinance it or whatever. So some PMLs are absolutely totally fine with making interest only. Obviously for us, it's actually better if they're willing to do principal and interest, but I would say the average or the majority of PMLs want interest only, and they probably only want it for a short term. They're probably only willing to lend for 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, 5 years tops, but it just depends on that PML.
So that's typically a yearly interest rate then?
Correct.
If it's at 12%, they want 1% a month until whenever you pay off the loan. Is it for a set term? Say borrow me for 12 months, but then you sell the house in 6 months?
Yeah. So it's actually good question. It's always typically, at least the majority of the time, amortized over 30 years. So if you want to borrow 30,000 at 12% interest, you would really take this interest and divide it up over 12 months. And I know that's probably going to convert to right around $300 a month. So it's always an amortization over 30-year period.
Okay. Interesting.
Sweet. But yeah, Daniel, does that answer?
Yeah, it does. And what would you say is the best way to find people to loan money to?
I would advertise it. I'm guessing you're not a sub-2 student?
I am not a sub-2 student.
Okay. I would advertise it, man. There's 100,000 people in Pace's, Facebook group, the creative Facebook group. Out of those 100,000, I would say at least 20 to 50% of those people would love to make connections with private money lenders. So just let people know, hey, I have a HELOC laying around. I need to deploy this. Anybody need a gator loan, a gator loan or a private money loan? I would recommend saying, hey, or just say, hey, I'm a private money lender. I have this much to deploy, right? Send me your deals that I can fund, and I'll let you know. I don't like saying I'm a gator because everybody and their mom seems to be a gator now. So, but nobody seems to want to be a PML. I'd much rather make relationships with PMLs. So yeah, man, I would just mark it on Facebook. You'll get flooded in your DMs with people hitting you up. Probably 90% of the deals people send you won't make sense, but there will be some in there. And what you'll want to do is ask those investors for HUD statements, right? Like get proof that they've done at least a handful of deals before. And
what's a HUD statement? I don't know what that is. I've never heard that.
Yeah. A HUD statement is essentially it's called a HUD statement or a settlement statement. So if you bought a home, right? So
yeah,
it's essentially the receipt. It's one of the last documents that you sign when you go to buy a home. They show you, okay, here's your purchase price, here's your loan, here's the fees, all that stuff. It's just a receipt that you've bought or sold deals before, essentially. That's like every investor, that's their proof of concept is their HUD statements.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, man. I would say, yeah, start marketing on Facebook, vet some of those investors. Get good at underwriting, man. You'll need to know how to find a cash on cash return, how to check for rental rates, how to comp properties as well. So that's maybe the next step is just learn how to underwrite, get good at the math of real estate.
Okay.
Yep. I would say don't lend anybody money unless you're confident in your underwriting skills.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if this is like a dumb question, but like, so being that I don't have any experience underwriting, how do I practice? How do I practice that?
Yeah. So it's going to start off with watching videos. In Angie's YouTube, we've done so many Zooms where we underwrite deals, right? So, there's two types essentially of underwriting, and you'll hear this so often in the investing world. There's what's called a cash on cash return. So I would Google and YouTube how to find a cash on cash return. Actually, there's more than two. So cash on cash is what I care about the most. Cash on cash literally is exactly how it sounds. How much money did I put into it versus how much money am I pulling out of it? That's like where you make 20%. There's also cap rate. That tends to deal more in the multifamily space. And then there's also IRR, internal rate of return. That happens to do with like, how much money did I put into it versus how much money am I going to make by year 10 or by year 5, right? It's a longer rate of return. But just do your research, man. I know Pace has YouTube videos about how to underwrite. But yeah, just do some homework on that. YouTube is your best friend.
Okay. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Love it, bro. Yeah. Good luck. All right. I don't know. I think that's Jim. Is that Mr. Jim? Or is it Donda?
Unmute. Hey, it's me. Jim just got home for our temporary home. Hi, how are you guys?
Good. Did you guys just move to Indianapolis?
Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. Okay.
Yeah.
Another state with an I.
I know, right?
Whereabouts? In Chicago area or?
We're about 2.5 hours south of Chicago, 2.5 hours from St. Louis, 2.5 hours from Indianapolis. We're kind of in the center here.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. He's building a car wash.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
He's always doing something fun. Yeah. So what I wanted to ask, Dylan, do you guys have a spot, you have all that information, but title companies that you guys are using in different states that are sub 2, is there, or do we just need to start calling all these title companies in an area we're working on, or is there a list for something like that?
Caleb Christopher is going to be your best resource for that.
Okay.
He actually started doing that. He hired some virtual assistants to literally start calling almost every title company in the country to, one, see if they're wholesale friendly, investor friendly, subject to friendly, and then also if they will issue title insurance on VA and FHA sub twos.
Okay.
So, I mean, for us, anytime we get a deal under contract, I typically put to the title company, I'll put to be decided by buyer, and I let Caleb Christopher choose. So he's the only transaction coordinator I will ever use. And I trust him to pick the best title company. So
that's perfect. Good to know that. Okay. All right. Yeah. I just was kind of looking at some markets and stuff, but, and let's see. Oh, did you guys get that list from the sub 2 group that you guys were talking about last week, that you were going to have a payout, that you guys were going to have it all come together so everybody's paying out the same amount, so there's no confusion?
I don't know. Angie, I think she might be talking to someone. Not that I know of. I don't think we've had that meeting yet.
Oh, okay. Just a little early on that then. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Was that it, Donda?
One more. Are you guys using Prime Corporate Services as for your LLCs? You are. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. That was the other one I wanted to ask you. All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Donda. Good to hear from you.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Later. Okay, so let me make sure I'm reading this. Let me make sure I'm reading the chat and not forgetting anyone. Tanisha says, if anyone is doing deals in creative financing and VA, please hit her up. Midterm rentals, only for my job by the end of October. Okay, awesome. So if you guys are marketing in the Virginia market at all too, Tanisha is a buyer out there, just so you guys know. Okay, Maj, I don't know if this is serious. He needs $250K this week, 20% return in 6 months for a multifamily. Oh no, that definitely does sound serious. Yeah. So yeah, Daniel, I don't know how much you have, but Maj could definitely borrow some of your money. A 6 month return, that would sound more like a gator, but up to you guys, however you structure it. Todd, yeah, it's Caleb Christopher. Unfortunately, he only does transaction services for sub 2 students, just because he's so busy doing transaction for sub 2 students that he doesn't really have the ability to open it up to non-members. So unfortunately, unless you're a sub 2 student, you can't use Caleb Christopher, but there are a ton of amazing transaction coordinators in the, I don't think so, Todd. I'm not too sure, but you can definitely go onto his website. I will actually type it here in the chat. I think it's www.creativetc.io. I don't know. It didn't seem like that populated as a link, but just Google creativetc.io. And that's his website. You can schedule a 15-minute consultation call with him for free. So check out his website. That's the best I got for you. All right, let's see. Mr. James Kellogg, what do you got, brother? James Kellogg. 3, 2, 1. Skipped and Christopher. What do you got, bro?
What's up, man? How are you?
Good, bro. How are you?
Excellent. I spent all day yesterday calling. I was on Myron did his 12-hour stream, so I just called the entire stream basically, and I'm hooked. I think I submitted like 5 or 6 deals with him. So one thing I learned from his, and it kind of pairs with what you were talking earlier, is like he was like, when you're talking to sellers or when you're calling the agents, he's like, just come with the deal, like come hot. You're not like, oh, how do you feel about this? Or how do you blah, blah, blah. And so I'm trying to change that. And I also want to submit like deals and LOIs myself so that I'm not wasting your guys' time. I'm not wasting his time, like anybody's time. What I came across in the Boise market is that most people have a ton of equity. Like they're like, oh yeah, house is paid off, or you know, they have like $300,000 or $400,000 equity on like a $500,000 home. Do you have any like tips on like how to structure those deals? Because I was just like, oh, subject to, I'm looking for low equity. Like that's kind of like how I open deals and start talking to people and stuff. Yeah, that's kind of my question.
Yeah. Great point too. Denver, Colorado is actually very similar. Like when we run our filter for low equity, like we'll type in Maricopa County, Arizona, so all of Phoenix, and maybe 100 low equity pops up. But you type in Denver, Colorado, and there's maybe 3, and they're all wrong too. It's PropStream thinks the value is 600,000 when they're actually listed for 1.2 million or something. So I haven't done much research in the Boise area. So, but I mean, you're probably right. I know Boise is definitely one of the hottest real estate markets. People actually compare it to Denver, Colorado. I don't know if that's true or not, but so what we do in that scenario, you can do a hybrid. You can send hybrid letters of intent. So, you know, hey, I'll take over your low interest loan. I'll at least give you a down payment. I try to stick to around 5 to 6% as a down payment to the seller, offer the agent 2 to 3%, and then take over the rest of their equity and pay them back over time. Whatever the amount is, as long as it's under $75,000, I will essentially offer to them to finance me at 0% interest rate, depending on how much it is over 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I always try to keep it within $100, $200, sometimes $250, depends. But if it's over 75,000, I will tend to add a 3% interest rate over 30 years. So that's like kind of my underwriting quick tip for sending hybrid offers. But I would say also maybe don't be afraid to go outside of Boise, man. Like, you can learn a market pretty quickly. So,
and that's I have from your call last week, I have the list of all the ones that you said that you liked. So I'm gonna start reaching out there. It's just Boise in my backyard, so that's where I'm starting. So, but yeah, that's it. Cool, man. Well, do you have a sheet on that hybrid like underwriting thing, or just keep that up here?
Yeah. So here, I'll show it to you guys real quick. I don't want to delve too deep in this because once I show this, so people
no
ask
worries.
questions about how I get into this.
Sorry.
But this is no, you're good. This is in the Facebook group. This is called the seller net sheet, right? So
yes,
here's a prime example. I just sent this offer. These people are listed at $339,900. So I'm going to throw that in there. Selling price. They're going to pay roughly actually 6% commissions, right? We estimate title costs and closing costs. And then they owe $240,000. So this is a fairly large amount of equity. So once I see they have $74,000, right, I'm going to try to beat that offer. So I'm going to just make it really worth their while. I offered them $20,000 more than what they would walk away with.
Wow.
But I can't give them all $94,000 down, right? I would never wholesale this. I'd be dumb to buy this. So I now take my asking price, $334,000. I offer the agent a 2% commission. I offer to pay all the closing costs and title costs. And then I offered him, I think this is like 5 or 6% down. And the rest is $76,000 over 30 years at a 3% interest rate. So that was literally my offer. Yep. And then go to your LOI. So everybody too, if you guys are in here, go to dochub.com. It's the free website. It's a PDF editor. I know Pace's team all uses this. The free version allows you to edit up to 5 PDFs a day. I would challenge you guys to try to send 5 offers a day using letters of intent. So download again from our Facebook group, download the seller finance, the hybrid, and the subject to. This one is the hybrid. So purchase price, down payment, mortgage, seller finance, how long, $320 a month. You can send a cash offer too. I typically don't send cash offers, but if they have more equity, they can accept a cash offer. So that's how I'd start doing it.
Sick. Love it. Thank you, man.
Right on, for sure. Thanks, Christopher. Yeah, and check out our Angie's YouTube too. There's tons of Zooms in there where we've sent offers and underwrote and all that good stuff. So
thank you.
Right on. Thanks, man. All right, Ruth asks, who's doing deals in the Phoenix AZ area? Almost everyone. Yep. We're doing deals in the Phoenix, Arizona market. We market constantly out there. Are you looking for a sub 2 to live in out there is the question. Connections in Panama Beach, Florida. Love to collaborate. I'm not too familiar with it. I don't know off the top of my head anybody in Panama City, but I'm sure there might be people in the Herd of Profits Facebook group. And he says, I am. I don't know what you mean, Ange. All right, let's see if Mr. James Kellogg is back.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now, man.
Yeah, thanks. I had little issues there. Anyway, I'm brand new, and what I'm really trying to figure out, I think, is ultimately I can see maybe becoming a private money lender. And I'm not part of the sub 2 group yet because I just went through the Elephant Challenge and have been doing the creative financing boot camp through Bigger Pockets. So I'm pretty new to all these concepts. And at this stage of the game, it feels like to me that I need to maybe act almost as a bird dog or somebody like that to bring some deals to others, including you guys there at Reps, maybe even, that you guys would either buy them and flip them or whatever your ultimate exit is on that property. And so that being said, am I right in thinking that I should be looking for potential sub 2 deals, things that maybe don't have a lot of equity in them? Because it doesn't seem like a lot of people are willing to wholesale at low prices right now. I'm in Glenwood Springs, so Western Colorado, so I'm considering the Grand Junction market. Ultimately, I think, the metro area is going to be a lot better, but there's a lot of people there looking for stuff too. So I'm really trying to make that initial connection with somebody who's got the experience that I can do a couple of deals, get the money that I can then invest into the sub 2 group, and then, have access to all the connections and all the training and methodology to go further with it. So I'm just looking for what's my best strategy here, and who do I need to know, like down there in Denver, to help me through a deal? Because I'm motivated and I'm intelligent and all that, but I feel like until I can really find somebody on the end to help me through this process and maybe even provide some of the dollars for a deal, that I'm a little bit stuck. So.
Yeah, I love it, James. Definitely great insight. You were asking me, I don't know if essentially there was a question in there, but you were giving me your game plan, and it sounds like the exact right game plan, right? And this is a great point for everybody. If you're new to just real estate investing in general, paying $10,000 for a mentorship and paying money to hire virtual assistants and all that stuff is a surefire way to lose a lot of money very quickly. So you're 100% right, James, right? Like we have people on our team where we told them essentially it's a mutually beneficial relationship. We're going to teach all our people that make calls for us. We're going to give them an accelerated education. Like hopefully in 3 months, all of the people on my team are going to be at the point where I'm at, and make a little bit of money at the same time. Right. So you're right. That's the idea of the Elephant Challenge too. That's how Pace created it. Is like, so real estate investing is such a massive thing. There's a million different ways you can make money and get started. So how do you get started is the same way you eat an elephant. It's one bite at a time. That's where he came up with the name for this challenge. And for sure, I think just bird dogging for someone is the best way to get started, right? That's how everybody tells you you're going to be successful is find someone that's successful in what you want to do and try to provide as much free value to them as possible. So absolutely, you have the right idea too. So looking for low equity is really what we look for. That's our bread and butter. We primarily wholesale and or rent low equity properties. So we'll keep them or wholesale them. So for us, that's really what we're focused on. If someone sends me a cash deal, unless it's like just screaming hot lead, I will typically ignore it. If someone sends me multifamily, I'm just not there in my business yet. I'm not focused on multifamily. It takes too much time. I don't have a securities attorney on retainer to start and syndicate a fund, yada, yada. So low equity subject to is really our team's bread and butter. So for sure, man, if you're actively learning and getting better, I would say, yeah, try to spend a couple of your, some of your time learning, but also try to spend some of your time maybe driving for dollars or looking for these low equity deals and then send them off. What we do is anytime someone sends us a lead, we will send an offer to that person, to that agent or seller. You will be CC'd on that email, so you will also get that offer. And then if it gets contracted, we will CC you on all the emails moving forward. You will be tagged in the Facebook groups when we market for buyers, all of that good stuff. So for sure, I think that's definitely the best way for you to get started.
Okay. Well, that's what I'll do then. And I guess that said, as Pace is always saying, you got to find your buyer before you really start making any offers, and maybe you're researching, but I guess what I need to do is it almost sounds like within this group here that's on this Zoom, that within house for you all right there, as well as, other people that are just part of this Zoom, that there's probably going to be enough people that are interested in this kind of thing that I can say, hey, would you be willing to team up if I find something? So it's kind of lay the groundwork that way. Because like most people, I'm an engineering consultant, and I recently got out of the private sector, which was 60 hours a week. And I'm in, state government now, which is more like 40, 42 hours a week. So I have a little bit more time, but still not a lot. But I guess if I can find the right person, then this will move on down the road.
Yeah. And Pace is for sure always right? Find your buyer first, and then go and find that specific deal for them. The easy part about finding low equity is Pace has already done the legwork of building a massive community of buyers. So, there's 100,000 members in the creative Facebook group. At least 5 to 10,000 of those people are serious buyers that are probably buying at least 1 to 5 deals per month. So you already have buyers in there, and the reason they're in those Facebook groups is because they want to buy subject to deals. So out of probably all of the deals we've wholesaled, at least maybe 50%, 40% of the buyers have come from that specific Facebook group. And the other portion of them have came from the sub 2 Facebook group that's a private group. But either way, anytime we post a deal in that creative Facebook group, we get 30 comments. And then 2, I'll share with you guys just a quick tip to find buyers as well. So if you guys go into the creative Facebook group, where is it at? Let me type it in. Creative. Maybe not. Creative real estate. There we go. So this is another way for you guys to easily find buyers, right? Like let's say, for example, you wanted to market in Raleigh, North Carolina. Find someone that's posted a deal in Raleigh. Look at this. Who's buying in Raleigh? Look at this. ARV, right? Go down, 6 comments. DM sent, end buyer. Look, like if I had a deal in Raleigh, North Carolina, I would literally just go in here and type Raleigh, North Carolina, and just go through all of the deals I see people posted, and I would DM this guy my deal. I would email this guy my deal. I would email this person, right? So, and then just keep going. That's another super easy way to find buyers. This guy's got 16 comments. Kazi, I DM that guy, DM her, right? So that's another super easy way to find buyers, just like a side note for you guys.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Thank you, Dylan.
Right on. Thanks, James. Good luck, man. Yeah, and we're here in North Denver. We're in the Thornton area. So our office, we always tell people, is open. Bring your laptop though. We want you to at least come and bring your laptop so you can, do some work as well too. So
Yeah, sounds good.
right on. Appreciate it, man.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to cut the questions off at Stevie. So if you guys don't have your hand raised, you're too late. So Stevie is our last question asker. So let me go to Christopher. Oh, yeah. Do you have another question, Christopher, or did you just forget to lower your hand?
No, my bad, man. I did not lower my hand. Sorry.
No, you're good, brother. All
I'll
good.
do that right now.
Thanks, man. Tyler, what do you got? Tyler.
Hey, sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Okay, good. Sorry, I got a 2-year-old running around here. Yeah, it's good to see you guys, man. I'm actually from Colorado. Also, my dad was a water chemist for the city of Thornton, Colorado, for years. So that's cool, man. And I'm looking at moving back to Grand Junction as well. So I guess my question is, I had a few, but I was interested in what Christopher was saying, what training he was watching about the kind of the more aggressive way of dealing with agents, instead of focusing on relationship building and things like that, just kind of like cutting through it all and just, like, boom, here's an offer. Oh, here's an offer for you, out here being Oprah. You get an offer, or an LOI, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like that resonates with me more. I like the more aggressive approach, like not wasting people's time. So I was going to ask you about that. And then I also kind of wanted to just hear your general opinions on how the market has shifted the last couple of years with the Fed raising rates, the interest rates and all this stuff, and how that's been used to our advantage to have a sub-2, community grow.
Okay. Yeah. Great point. I could at least share my opinion on the market. But I'll start with what Christopher was saying about the more aggressive approach. And that's sort of what we do too. So I teach my guys that make calls for me that you'll typically talk to two types of people. There's obviously more than two types of people, but you'll talk to someone that is a little bit more straightforward, quicker, straight to the point, higher level. And those are great people to match their energy in that way. But when you talk to an agent, let's say that's very sweet and talkative, right? You also want to match their tone with a little bit softer voice, ask them more questions, go into that, right? Whoever you're talking to, this is just life in general, right? Always try to match people's body language if you're talking in person, or their tonality on the phone. So the aggressive approach is good for those aggressive, quicker on the phone, straight to the point types of people. But when you have a very sweet agent that loves to talk and be nice, you want to try to match that tonality too. And you can still be straight to the point, right? That doesn't mean you have to have a 20-minute conversation with every agent. I tell all of my people, keep your phone calls to 3 to 5 minutes, right? Go in there with a purpose. You want price, motivation, timeline, and condition. Once you get those, if you want to continue to build more rapport, go ahead. But once you get those 4 things, ask them for their email and let them know that you're going to send an offer and move on to the next. So if that sounds more like you, I would say go in with that intention, right? Price, motivation, timeline, condition, email, on to the next. But it definitely does not hurt to build a rapport with some of those agents, and see if they have other listings or anyone in their office would like to schedule a meeting with you to show you other listings they have that might be a good fit for you, right? So you never want to just close off potential leads by trying to be quicker on the phone too. So that's I guess my opinion on that. Does that answer, I guess, or clear up anything, like any questions about that?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then, I just wondered because correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't really know much about anything. My sales experience has been in subprime auto sales. So But like, don't agents have like a fiduciary responsibility? Like if they receive an offer, a credible offer, like they have to bring it to their seller, right?
Right. You're 1,000% right too. And that gives me some more information. Like you're just trying to get them offers, so they have to show it to their client and get back to you anyway. So there's my guess is your thinking is like, why waste time building rapport and all that? If I can just send them an offer, they have to show it and they have to get back to me, right?
I mean, kind of. I mean, obviously, you're going to want to, some finesse is probably, but I'm just saying, like, if all else fails, you know what I mean? They receive an offer, like, they got to show it, right?
Yep. No, I mean, you're 100% right too. I would say out of all of the offer, we probably send 50 offers, if not more, a week. And I would say probably 80 to 90% of those agents don't ever get back to us. You have to follow up with them. So either way, sometimes if you do a good job of building rapport, they're going to remember you and say, my client said no, but I should get back with those people and just let them know too. But yeah, the majority of the time they don't anyways. Really the rapport building is to get other listings that might be a good fit. Because again, 50% of the time you might call on a property that doesn't work, but they have another listing that you have no idea about that would be a great property. So that's really the idea of rapport building.
Tell them your story today, Dylan, the agent that you're dealing with, and he's going to bring you a bunch more.
Oh, Matt, that guy?
This morning.
Yeah.
Remember, he's like, this ain't our last deal. That's an agent.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like literally we're closing on one tomorrow with an EXP agent that has probably 100 brokers or 100 agents underneath him. And yeah, I mean, same thing. We just did a good job of building a relationship with that guy, and he is going to start sending us all of his low equity stuff. And he's making more money than what he would have made if he listed it on market. So he's stoked to be working with us. So yeah, I would say that's definitely the point of maybe taking your time a little bit more with talking to these agents, Tyler.
Okay. Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks for your time. I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thanks, man. And I'll give you a brief, I guess, like my opinion on the real estate market. I think obviously in May or June of 2022, the market peaked around the country. People were getting offers 50,000 over asking, sight unseen, in cash, right? So we've obviously gone away from that. The market was definitely scary in the latter half of 2022, but I think since January, February, March, it's sort of picked back up. The prices, you're not seeing them as high as they were, but buyers aren't super scared of the higher interest rates anymore. People realize that even a 6.5 interest rate isn't really all that high. The markets that have been heavily affected are obviously higher price, so Colorado, Arizona, Miami, and California, right? But those affordable markets, 250,000, 350,000 average price range, they're fine. They're still getting showings because people can afford those homes with those higher interest rates. But yeah, I think with the changing market, I think we are in the best spot possible to be taking over low interest loans. I don't think there's a better strategy out there right now than subject to be honest.
Awesome. That's great, man.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Love it. Thanks, Tyler. And then Stevie, real quick, let me make sure I run through the chat. I got 20 new messages. Burke says, a lot of sub-2 students who I spoke to basically asked me to cold call, bring them leads, and there isn't much education per se. Is making calls the only way to learn, trial by fire, so to speak? Absolutely not. That's probably so many people ask Angie and me and Dom, right? They're like, how can I help you guys? How can I be a part of your team, right? Unless you know a decent amount about real estate, right? Really the only place we can put you is to make cold calls. So that's just kind of the nature of it. And it's tough to teach people when they're not learning outside of just that, right? Like if you're continuing your education on YouTube and Zooms, you'll learn, and then making phone calls definitely helps. The learning part of it is going to come from actually getting a deal under contract. And then some sub 2 students might be more willing to teach you more versus some might be like, okay, cool, man. Well, this deal closed. Here's $1,000 and move on. Right. So just about finding that right team and letting them know, I don't care how much you pay me. I care about how much I learn. Right. So if people come to me with that mindset, I'm so much more willing to put you as a spot in my team versus someone that's like, hey man, I'm behind on my bills. I really need some money. Is there any way I can join your team? Like, it's just not the right mindset. You have the wrong mindset, you know? So,
Hey, Dil, to add to that educational piece, we're going to be adding breakout rooms to our Zooms so everybody can get more questions answered. You know, maybe we'll take you in a room and teach you, we'll show you how the contracts look, right? Just all sorts of different things that we're going to be doing in those breakout rooms. And that will allow us to reach more of you guys and teach more of you guys at a time. Because, you know, at 90, 100 students in here, we can't get to everybody. So we're going to do those breakout rooms to help everybody out.
oh, I love that. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, let me see. Someone, Christine says, if we bring a deal, is it considered a JV if it goes under contract? Yeah. I mean, it's a joint venture as long as you had a part in it. For sure. Let's see. Toshe is in the right spot. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss anyone. Joel asked, so what do y'all explain for your exit strategy and what you will do for the property, like midterm rental, long-term rental? Good question. So anytime I'm talking to an agent or a seller and they're like, well, what do you want to do with this, right? I always tell them, first of all, we have multiple exit strategies. So if this is just good to know, if you guys ever wholesale or talk to another investor, right, they should have multiple exit strategies that they deploy, right? Our primary one, we just love long-term rentals. As long as it cash flows as a long-term rental, that's what we're going to turn this property into. If not, as long as there's hospitals nearby, traveling nurses is a great strategy. Airbnbs, possible, corporate rentals, pad split, sober living, right? We've done all of these exit strategies. And then I will also let them know what a wraparound mortgage is too. That gets more into the weeds. But I will say we're going to resell this property and increase the interest rate on a wraparound mortgage. So just let them know you have multiple exit strategies and you're not quite sure yet. That's really what I do. If you can get the agent on your side, you have a better chance of making the deal so they can sell your deal. So you definitely want to do your best to befriend the agent if possible with your deal. Great point, Todd. Absolutely. Veronica says Pace had stated yesterday that an agent had a house for sale over 200 plus days, and the agent did not tell the seller. Pace performed on a Zoom call to talk to the seller. Yeah, I mean, we definitely call. I've gotten deals under contract and sold. We just closed on a deal in Austin where the agent would not show our offer to the seller, thought that it was illegal, and sure enough, we called the seller and they said, "Man, I just need to sell this. This sounds like a great option," and that deal closed. So for sure, sometimes agents don't have their client's best interest in mind, right? Gosh, you guys are posting messages. All right, Stevie, let's go to you and then we'll wrap this sucker up.
So what I've noticed is that we've got so many people coming into the rooms now, and there's a lot of new people, which is absolutely fantastic. And I was thinking about when I first got into real estate, and I'm still new to this, but definitely can get into the shiny panda syndrome as well. And there's so much to learn. I was wondering if maybe to be more effective, maybe if you could like share maybe some simple steps of where people should start. Because I know for me, when I first started, I was like all over the place. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to learn this, or I'm going to go here, or I'm going to go there. And so I thought it might be just kind of helpful if you shared maybe a few simple steps of, start this, just just kind of something I was just thinking about over our past few Zooms. And obviously the Tuesday and Friday Zooms are super helpful. And definitely the YouTube channel, because all of those past videos, you really do break down and get down to the nitty gritty. So I do recommend that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, great idea, Stevie. And I think too, it kind of depends on where you're at more so in life, but absolutely, you know, if you're brand new to real estate, it is super scary. But I would say, right, if you guys have, I'll put you in essentially maybe 2 or 3 different categories. But if you're someone that's brand new to real estate and you don't have a ton of money to throw around, right, like you're working your 9 to 5 or your W-2, right, you just don't have $10,000 laying around to lend or put a down payment on a property. The best strategy is for you to probably get into maybe wholesaling, right? Whatever your opinion is on wholesaling, whether you have no idea what wholesaling is, right? Do some research on wholesaling. If you have little to no money and you want to get started in real estate, wholesaling is such a great way. You don't need any credentials. You don't need a license. You don't need cash. You really don't need any money. You don't need $1,000 to put as earnest money because you can borrow that. So start to learn about wholesaling, right? Like I remember when I first came in, me and Joey thought we were going to buy $1 million homes in the mountains of Colorado and turn them into Airbnbs, and we were going to be rich. Dom kept telling us, right, like you guys should really look into this wholesaling stuff. And I was like, no, that's lame. People talk shit about wholesalers. Excuse me. People talk crap about wholesalers, right? Like I have New Western send me deals and they never make sense. Wholesaling just seems super scummy. Right. But he kept saying like, you guys should look into this wholesaling stuff. And then finally we got a deal under contract and we're like, okay, well, he didn't want creative, right? He only wanted cash. And we're like, well, we don't know where we're going to get $500,000 in cash. So maybe we can wholesale this thing. And sure enough, we tried to. Obviously, we locked it up too high and we weren't successful. But man, did we learn so much from trying to do that. We learned so much, right? And then from there out, we realized, okay, maybe these $1 million mansions aren't the best strategy. So we just started calling. We skip traced lists for tired landlords and vacant properties and just started hammering the phones. So if this is something you guys would like to start it in, right, I would say start calling either on market properties where in affordable markets. Don't start calling $1 million listings. Start calling $250,000, $100,000. Start calling that price range and look for properties that are beat up and need some work and have been sitting on the market for a long time, right? Let them know you work for a company that buys homes and rehabs and rents across the country, and you'd love to submit an offer, right? And then once you have that first conversation, I swear your life will change, right? Once you call a real estate agent and act like you know what you're talking about and tell them you'd like to submit an offer, even though you have no idea what an offer even looks like, your life will change. So and then take that lead and submit it to a team like us or whoever, someone else in the Elephant Challenge, whoever, right? Let them know, hey, I called this. I have no idea what I'm doing. Is this even a lead to begin with? Or maybe like what price should I send my offer at, right?
Dylan, you said it right at the beginning. You took the time to build your skills and fail and make calls and get hung up on it. And you did that for a long time. You and Joey just banged it out every single day. So that's how you got good on those phones. By getting good on those phones led you to locking up deals, locking up more deals. So it's really just that time, man. There's no substitution. This is a cheat code for sure, because it's going to get you in front of the right people, but you still got to put your time in order for you to be successful in this business. It won't just happen. You won't just find a deal and be lucky. You may, but it's going to be a one time and you're not going to be able to repeat it. So it's putting in the time and getting those reps in for sure. Being in places like this is perfect. This is where you need to be.
Exactly what he said. I don't know if Dylan might have mentioned it, but me and Dylan went for the 8-9 months with $0. Zero. So
I remember.
it pays off in the end, right? But we didn't know where we are going to get our next paycheck. We're using credit cards, all that. We're literally 9 months with $0. And now, once we turn that corner, what we do 5 a month now. So it's, if you're not prepared to go at least a year, 2 years, 3 years without making money and just learning and becoming a beast, then entrepreneurship, real estate's probably not for you. Because you got to be ready to fail and fall on your face for a lot of months. And then you always see these posts where like, oh, I just started 2 days ago and I got a deal. They're not really actually doing a deal. You know, they could have got lucky, but the people who are consistent and doing deals all the time, it doesn't just happen overnight. So if you're feeling discouraged, just remember my Dylan story of not making a single penny. And even our first deal was like $2,000. So and now our minimum sign fee is $15K. So just keep that in mind if you ever.
Love it. And then just to, as another point to Stevie's point, so maybe you do have a good W-2 job, right? Maybe you have a good pension or a good 401k, and maybe you have a house or a couple houses. Maybe you have a HELOC just sitting around, right? Like, or you're very financeable, right? Like you have a great W-2 job, you've had it forever, you have money saved up, your debt to income is amazing, your credit score is amazing, right? This is the other side of it where wholesaling and getting good on the phones probably isn't the route for you, right? So maybe look into leveraging your 401k or your HELOC or your W-2 job, right? These are other ways where you can provide value to get involved in real estate, right? So if you don't know this and you, let's say, have a 401k, even if it's 10 grand or 20 grand, you can't pull that money out, right? But you can put that money into what's called a self-directed Roth IRA, where you're in charge of how that money's invested, and you can lend that as a private money lender or a gator lender, right? Company I recommend is called Horizon Trust. That's who I use for my self-directed 401k. So check them out. But just the other side of it, right? Maybe bird dogging and wholesaling isn't the route for you, but leveraging your W-2 job, right? So this is something Pace did for us, and this is totally a valuable strategy for you guys, right? Pace is so financeable because he has all this credibility, and I'm sure his credit score is good and he's got money in the bank. He used his credentials to get approved for a loan where we bought a deal in cash and turned it into a sober living. And just by him, literally, he wholesaled his credit to us. That's right. He literally wholesaled his credit. He now has 30% equity and cash flow in that deal by literally just saying, yeah, here's my tax returns, here's my credit score, right? And he did nothing else besides that. So that's another option. Again, there's so many ways to get started in real estate. So those are kind of the two different sides of the coin. I'm sure everybody in here hopefully falls into one side of that. But there's a million different strategies in between. But I would say bird dogging and following, right? Pick a path, find someone who's successful at that path, and literally go and work for that person for free for a year, try to make them money, and then the money will come. So yeah, Stevie, that's an amazing point. Hopefully that provided a lot of value to people. So all right, last question, Miss Janae Torres. By the way, if you guys want to be more healthy and you're looking for a better way to become healthy, Janae actually knows a way where you guys can reverse your aging, help cure some chronic diseases. She sells a machine that I don't know, Janae. I'll let you say,
let's
but
just say it.
water.
Okay, it's the king in water. It's the water that cured me. Janae saved my life.
Yes.
Yeah, she's better at explaining it. But yeah, she sells some water. So if you guys want to be healthier, I'll let her explain it, or Angie explain it.
Yeah, so Kangen water is like absolutely amazing. It's basically electrolytes reduced water. It's electrically charged. It changed both me and Angie's life. I used to be really sick. So did Angie, and we were suffering. So if you know anybody that, may be suffering, or yourself, just reach out to one of us. We'd love to help you. I just had a quick question. So I'm a total noob. I'm going to be vulnerable right now. But so I mentioned a couple of my real estate friends, like they're all agents. And they're like, what are you doing nowadays? And I, mentioned it to them. Oh, like I'm getting into investing. And then all of a sudden I get like grand slammed with like 10 properties. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know what I just did, but awesome. Cool. So do I just use the calculator that's in the Facebook group to see like if these properties are even like worth getting into, or like, where do I start with that?
Yeah. So like how to identify what types of properties to even go after, right? Yeah. And that's so tough because there's just a million different ways, right? So some people are experts in going after foreclosures. So we like foreclosures because there's a lot of motivation there. Their home is being, threatened to be taken away from them. So to everybody in this group, I would recommend foreclosures is a great place to get started. But that being said, it's a very saturated market. Millions of people are going after foreclosures. But that's just one way, right? Probate. So people who maybe had a death in the family and inherited a property. Angie is a probate specialist. So you can make relationships with probate attorneys and or title companies that deal with probates. Or you can even, I'm sure there's probate listing. You could probably Google like probate listings. So that's just another way. Literally, Janae, you can drive around in Colorado and look for properties where the grass is overgrown, or maybe there's a tarp on the roof, or there's trash out front, right? That's called driving for dollars, right? So drive around, find those properties where the grass is too high, write down the address, and then you can do what's called skip trace and find those sellers, those owners' number, and call them and say, hey, I live in the area. I grew up, or I drive by this home all the time. I just wanted to call and see, if there's any way I can maybe help. I saw that the grass is overgrown. Is there anything I can do to maybe help out? I also happen to work for a real estate company that buys homes. Would you ever consider selling that property? So that's an easy way. Driving for dollars is what that's called. That's a super easy way to get started. There's, people flip land. So maybe there's some land in the area where you've seen a for sale sign in it for years, right? I can think of 10 properties that I drive by every day where there's a for sale sign in the land. So that's one strategy. I don't prefer land. I don't know much about it. Mobile homes is another strategy. So people go after mobile homes. But for us, we prefer people who recently bought their home in 2020, 2021, or 22. So we know they have a good interest rate and they don't have much equity. So that's who we target because we can take over their payment. The other strategy we really like is people who might have a handful of rentals, right? They're mom and pop owners. They are tired landlords. They've tried investing and maybe they were successful or not that great at it, and they're now trying to retire and they want to sell those properties. So they might finance them to you. So those are just beginner level, I would say, strategies to start identifying deals. But for you, Janae, I would say, yeah, like drive for dollars, right? Find tall grass properties and call them. Try to find some foreclosures. Or just find properties that need work. I would say that's definitely a great way to get started.
Great. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, Janae. Cool. And there was 50 messages. I literally missed 50 messages. So unfortunately, that is our time. We try to keep these to an hour and a half. My voice gets tired. we got other stuff to do. But again, we have another Zoom on Friday, this Friday at noon Mountain Time. That's 2 Eastern, 11 Pacific. So hopefully you guys can make it to that. Let's go. I'm stoked you guys are in here. Always just helping me keep the motivation high. So yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully you guys gained some knowledge out of today. Again, the Zoom will be recorded. So if you missed some of it, it's on the YouTube channel. Shout out to you guys, man. This is so tough and scary. I've known since I graduated high school that I wanted to be in real estate. So I've been reading real estate books and just studying, listening to podcasts for a long time. So it's just comes a little bit easier for me. But if this is, you guys are brand new to it, you're in the right place, you're around the right people, you have the right mindset. It's just about how to get started. So again, find people that are successful in what you want to do and try to provide value to them however you can, right? So by bringing them leads, finding private money, right? So the best way you guys can help us, and I'm gonna end it with this, we are just constantly trying to build our network, trying to get our Facebook group out there and our company. So if you guys could go to the creative Facebook creative real estate. I always mess this up. Creative real estate. If you don't mind taking a screenshot or even just making a post and shouting us out, that's the best way you guys can provide value to us. Just shouting out our group, letting them know what you learned. If you got a golden nugget, maybe post about that nugget and just shout out our team. Again, we are the Herd of Profits Facebook group. The name of our company is REPS, Real Estate Problem Solvers, REPS. So yeah, if you guys don't mind posting in the Facebook group and tagging me, Dom, Joey, Angie, and the rest of our team, Rachel Swartz, Robin Hurt, Linda Willoughby, or just anyone else in our group that's helped you out. If you guys don't mind just going to post it in there, we would greatly appreciate it. So that is where I'll leave you guys. Again, join our Facebook group for the future Zooms and the other resources. And we will see you guys Friday at noon. Peace. See you guys.
Peace out. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Bye.
See you
Bye.
guys.
Guys.
Bye.